This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack, hydration, and coffee sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious low-sugar brain and body fuel you'll need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ Bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. We are always on the go. Their IQ protein bars are absolutely a great snack. They taste delicious. So many times you have to choose between good tasting snacks and stuff that has a bunch of junk, including sugar in it, but not IQ bars. Low in sugar, great and healthy ingredients, and even better tasting. IQ Mix is a zero sugar drink mix that hydrates with electrolytes, improves mood, and boosts clarity. You know, it's not fun to drink water. So I've always found great tasting drinks that have no sugar are a great way to keep that sugar craving low and get your electrolytes and then boost that mood. Change your morning routine with IQ Joe, a mushroom coffee designed for mental clarity and packed with 200 milligrams of natural caffeine. Plus, it comes in 4 different flavors that are better than any brewed coffee. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their busy lifestyles with IQ Bars, brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffee. And their ultimate sampler pack includes all 3. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the ultimate sampler pack, plus free shipping. Get your 20% off. Text FILES, F-I-L-E-S, to 64,000. Text FILES, F-I-L-E-S, to 64,000. That's FILES to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. I don't know about you, but I like keeping my money where I can see it. Unfortunately, traditional big wireless carriers also seem to like keeping my money too. After years of overpaying for wireless, we finally got fed up with crazy high wireless bills, bogus fees, and free perks that actually cost more in the long run and made the switch to Mint Mobile. So if you don't want to pay for wireless service, make that switch as well. Stop overpaying for wireless just because that's how it always has been. Mint exists purely to fix that. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Bring your own phone and number, activate with eSIM in minutes, and start saving immediately. No long-term contracts, no hassle. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. Again, what can I say? I mean, it's really crazy how much we've been saving. And now we get exceptional coverage without wasting all that money. And if you are looking to save some money, the easiest way to do it is making a switch to Mint Mobile today. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/VIALL. That is mintmobile.com/VIALL. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options are available. Taxes and fee extras. See Mint Mobile for details. Don't forget, Viall Files Plus now offers ad-free episodes for all Viall Files episodes, including Ask Nick, Reality Recap, and Going Deeper. Plus, if you love Ask Nick, you will absolutely love our Ask Nick updates, where you get updates of your favorite calls, our deep dive on all your favorite Reality Recap TV shows, and our pop culture roundup, where we talk about all your favorite pop culture topics that we didn't get to in this week's episode, plus deep dives on our Going Deeper guest, and so much more. All you have to do is go to Viall Files Plus, and you will be lucky you did.
You're crazy.
How's it going?
Hi, I'm Allie. I'm 31. I lost 200 pounds, went on 48 dates last year, and I've still never had a boyfriend.
Okay. All right. Well, tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, I was a late bloomer to dating. I made it my 2025 resolution to go at it really hard. Someone told me dating is about getting your reps in, so I took that literally and went on a date with anyone I could get with,
Okay.
get a match with. I also went to 9 dating events on top of that, speed dating mixers. So I met a lot of people. I got in a few situationships, got close, but I feel like my lack of experience ended up turning people off. And it's not something I can change, but I'm just wondering how do I communicate that maybe to have better luck?
Maybe you don't have to communicate it. Walk me through what you think would be like a typical conversation you would have on like a first or second date when kind of talking about yourself as it relates to like dating history or things like that, or what are some things that you found yourself often saying is like your talk track or your pitch or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that comes up in the first few dates, especially like I on the apps, I have like I want a long-term relationship. That's who I'm matching with, people who I'm hoping are similarly minded. So I think that comes up like how long have you been single? When was your last relationship? Because that's something also I want to know about them
Yeah.
pretty early on, to be fair, I guess. So I think I have maybe gotten better in some ways about not coming out with like, guess what? I've never been in a relationship, but it does feel like something I don't want to lie about either.
Well, I mean, like maybe it's just not. I mean, I would be willing to bet you're internalizing it, or I don't know, maybe that's not the word, or making it way more of a thing than it actually is, and then projecting that in ways you're not realizing on dates. Regarding your weight loss, does that ever
Yeah.
come up?
Oh, yeah, and I think that's, like, another big part of this too. I mean, I don't I've learned not also to lead with that because I feel like that also I'm not honestly sure which one it is that is making me not have luck because there were 4 times in the last year where I dated, like, kinda got in situationships, got close, and then things kind of ended out of the blue, and I feel like it is when they kind of start to put it together either like I mean, you can kind of tell, I think at a certain point I have like loose skin and stuff like that. Or if they found old pictures of me online or the lack of relationship. Because I have had people explicitly say like that's a concern for me. And maybe that's just the reason they're giving me to, because they don't want to be
The
a dick and say something about weight loss. But
I think there could be some truth to that. Yeah, I think
yeah.
them saying, "Oh, well, your lack of a dating experience is a concern for me." I don't think I've ever met a man who really gave a shit about it. At the end of the day, if you are what they really wanted, so to speak, and by you I mean just like anyone. And you're right, yeah, it's just a lot. It sounds like a lot nicer than But I would imagine, to think about your typical assumptions people might make. How did you lose it? A lot of those potentially really rude and kind of just things like that. I would be willing to bet it's a lot. Any guy who says that's a concern is probably lying to you about that.
Yeah. That is, like, such a tough pill to swallow, and I think I, like, knew that deep down, but I like, the reason why I wrote in is because I mean, I've, like, listened for a long time because I, like, wanted another opinion on it because my friends say certain things, my friends' boyfriends say certain things, I think because they wanna be nice to me, but it does feel like the weight loss is such a big thing that I'm having to fight against, which sucks because I worked so hard and, like, I think it's made me a better person in a lot of ways going through this experience,
For
and,
sure.
like,
Well,
I'm gonna be a better partner.
you have to, I think one, you really got to give yourself some grace here. I think there's a lot going on at once with you, you know? Uh, and you're just, I think, having a harder time processing it. Going on 48 dates in a year is a lot, And on some level, I commend you. You're right because like dating is for someone who felt like they didn't have who lacked experience. And I imagine with your weight loss, you gain more confidence in your ability to go out there, and you probably felt like people, especially initially, reacted differently to you and things like that. And that was probably exciting. But on some level, well, I mean, it's a little extreme, right? But you were very intentional, it sounds like. You're like, I'm gonna go on a lot of dates. Like it was you knew what you were doing, and you did.
Mhm.
And I hope and I imagine you got a lot of practice, right? I hope and I imagine like within those 48 dates, there were some fun, exciting moments.
There were. Yeah. That's the thing I can say. I got a lot of experience. It was tough because I feel like I went and, like, even still now, I'm going through things that, like, my friends went through at, like, 21, 22, and I'm 31. So it's kinda weird. Like, even since I wrote in, I had, like, yet another situationship that just ended Sunday. So
Okay.
I've actually it's funny, like, now talking because 'cause I'd kind of resolved in the last, like, few days to just give up for a little bit. Not give up, but, like, take a break because the juice does not seem worth the squeeze
Well, I
for
think after
me.
48 dates in a year, a break could be good, a little vacation
Mhm.
from dating. Yeah, what did you? I mean, I'm curious. What what are some experiences that you learned from?
I'm actually like curious how you would react to this. What my like one of my major takeaways is that I feel like men don't think as much about what they do or say,
Sure.
and women overthink. Like to me, there were moments where someone would say something or like do something, if it was like kissing my forehead, like gazing into my eyes, like saying how much fun they're having and how much they care about me. And I would take that as, oh, this is good. They're into me. Like this is going somewhere. And so when it ended, I would be like really upset over it. But I think looking back now, I'm like, oh, I think a lot of the times they're just saying that. Where I wouldn't necessarily say anything like that or like gaze into their eyes lovingly if that didn't mean something to me.
Yeah.
And I realize that's a wide brush to paint with, but I feel like it's actually kind of true.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to it. I think, yeah, I think in general in dating, especially when it comes to like emotional moments, I think women probably it's probably fair to say women are more intentional than men. Yeah, and I also think a lot of men are, trying things. I want to maybe not trying things out, but it's just like you want to be suave and you want to be a romantic and you want to like and yeah, they're like living in the moment. Oh, and also like I've felt that at times as a guy, and hell, I felt like that when I was a bachelor. There are a lot of
Mhm,
moments, granted it's different because there's one of them as many of me, and as the lead, you realize you do have to fake feelings, and you do have to kind of be insincere. On the flip side, on the receiving end, you're reading into every little moment. You're like, but you said that to me, and we had that moment. There was, a moment that comes to mind is when at the end of the second bachelorette, it was like, "But why did you say you loved me?" And she's like, "But I did." And I was like, "No, you didn't. You're about to pick someone else."
mhm,
And then she goes, that's how I felt in the moment." And I was like, "How I felt for you was greater than a moment." And I thought it was like all suave and things like that. And but that is, I think, is often true in dating. Is that like some of us are a little bit more intentional, some of us are a little bit more reserved. Some people are just like, if it feels good in this moment, let's just go with it, and like it's not that serious. And like I don't know, like I looked into your eyes and gave you a kiss, and in that moment I felt these feelings that felt like love. So I said I love you. Like why is that a
mhm,
crime? And I think I don't what you do with that. I don't know. I mean, I think the reality is, I think you kind of I think these dates that you went on over the past year will, you've definitely played catch up. And I think more than anything, well, I don't think you need to give up. I think a break is nice, but I think 48 dates in a year, whatever you lost in experience, I think you've caught up. So I think now maybe you can just kind of go at a pace that you're more comfortable with, and I think you can be a lot pickier about who you go on dates with and who you open up with. And now when you start dating, like you're going to have to strike that balance between cynicism and optimism, like I've said this before and I've talked about this, like, when I was in my early 20s, I was definitely more of like the young, I guess hopeless romantic kind of, like you and I think a lot of people are. It's just like you feel good feelings early on and like this feels good. So let's date, this can't be bad. So yeah, of course, I would want to be your boyfriend if you would like to be my girlfriend, and then you date and you fight and whatever, you break up. And then as you get older, well, at least as I got older, experiences that you have, right? Like that experience on a TV show, as silly as it was, like, was a bit of a learning lesson for me where it's just like, yes, some people don't think like me or operate like me. So now I can be, when people say things to me, I'm not just quick to like be so naive to assume I'm that great, right? It's just like, because when you're younger and you have high confidence in yourself, you're like, of course you love me. I'm sure there might, and on your case, like, I hope you got a lot more confidence from all this hard work you put into yourself. On the flip side, that confidence might have been a bit of a catch 22. Your subconscious brain been like, yeah, I mean, like, who wouldn't want this at this point, right? And then, in a way, and then like they change their mind and it kind of fucks with you a little bit. But yeah, I think maturing in dating is kind of striking that healthy balance between not being kind of so gullible with your feelings and controlling your ego in terms of accepting that like not everyone is in love with you, not everyone fucks with you, you're not everyone's type. That's totally okay. Every time you get rejected, your ego is going to tell you the reason they rejected you is because of your greatest insecurities. You know, it must be this. And in some cases, it might be true. Like you asked me, it's just like I kind of suspected like it might be more the weight loss than the lack of dating history. And again, I'm just giving you my opinion. I could totally be wrong, but I think, yeah, more likely than not, I think while a lack of experience might be a small red flag for a guy, but you know, short of you really acting like you don't have experience, I think it's easier to, you know, it's no one wants to be a dick, you know. I'm kind of rambling now. I don't know if any of this is helpful.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think to your point, I went into this kind of naive, and I also identify as a hopeless romantic. And I think I just had expectations about what dating would be like. Like,
what were those
because I
expectations?
watched for a long time. My whole 20s, I was single, watching my friends get in and out of relationships, talking about dating. And I never really thought that was going to happen for me. So when it did, I think I learned fast that it's not what I thought it was going to be, which is like sad to your point about like balancing cynicism, because I feel pretty jaded now, and being open.
Well, you're 31, you said?
Yeah.
Well, again, you've caught up, because I think a lot of 31s out there dating are very cynical and frustrated. So, you know, again, you know, I really think it's important for you to try to find ways to look at the positives, right? You're kind of experiencing a new world, and you're going to have a lot of expectations. I'm sure there's a part of you that was just like, fuck yeah, like, look what I did. What a huge accomplishment. And then as soon as you felt rejected in any way, that must have been a really difficult moment, because it was like, whoa, I put in all this work. I finally did the thing. And what I told myself, or what was holding me back for so many years, is no longer holding me back. And then you go out on dates, and even though the narrative's a little different, where it's just like, hey, this is not who I'm anymore, but I used to be that way. I'm not this way anymore. And then it feels like, well, yeah, but I'm still going to judge you for who you used to be and not who you are today, you know? And then that must felt really defeating, you know? On the flip side, you know, think about it this way, like imagine like the person who, let's say at some point early in the 20s, cheats on their partner, you know, whether it was like whatever the reason why, right? But let's say that really affected them. You know, their partner broke up with them. You know, they did some work. You know, they maybe explored why they made those choices. Maybe got into some therapy. Maybe discovered some like past childhood traumas about why, you know, what played a role, and then searching for that validation outside of a relationship and things like that. And then, you know, they go out and start dating again. And then, you know, they're on a date, and you're on date 2, and you're like, well, and so, you know, gotta ask, have you ever cheated on your partner? And being the person that they want to do, but they want to be honest. They want to put the work, and of course they're gonna be honest. Why? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie about I was a cheater, because that's what I used to do in the past. And then imagine a lot of people being like, well, no, I'm sorry. Once a cheater, always a cheater. And I've been cheated on before. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Probably a very similar kind of feeling that you might feel, right? And this is all to say, like, you're not alone when it comes to those types of feelings. And I think everyone on some level will always, again, feel rejected for similarly. And I really believe that. I think, people might not like us for whatever reason. Maybe there's not their type. You know, and I would guarantee that whoever of the majority of those men who you felt rejected by, it was neither the experience or the weight loss. It was just, I don't know, she's just not my person. That I'm certain of.
Well, there's something interesting to me with all of these experiences, that I'm trying to figure out like how do I get better at this in the future, and maybe there's not a way to do that, but it's like I've had, and now with this last one, 5 of these experiences where we get like 2 months in, and so it's not like they go on 1 or 2 dates with me and they find, something about my personality or my future goals that's not going to work. They like give me a few months, and then once I think the stuff about weight loss or like things get more physical and they like figure out what that means, like it does feel like kind of funny to me that it because if it was something that was just personality or an incompatibility, why are they stretching it out that long?
Well, I don't think you get to know
Or
someone
is
in 2
it up
months.
to me to cut it off earlier? I don't know.
I
Yeah.
imagine it's a
It
mix.
just feels funny because it's been like about the same time.
Like, is that like the same time you're like taking clothes off and hooking up or like,
Kind of. And I mean, another part of this, which is a whole other tangent, is that I'm also a virgin for like, which probably was clear, but that is like a whole other thing too, with like the inexperience and the weight loss.
I mean, I guess, but it
That
doesn't
also
need
feels like a turn off.
I think that's really only a turnoff to the degree that you make it a big deal. And I
Yeah.
understand that it probably is a big deal to you, but I don't know, in your case, your virginity is, I'm guessing, centered around just your lack of dating experience.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? It's not it's not some, you didn't make some like big decision, you weren't like saving yourself for marriage, or it just didn't happen.
Mhm.
So the more you make it a thing, the more it's a thing. I don't know if this applies to anything you're thinking or feeling, but literally last night, have you heard of the black coffee theory? Okay,
No.
I saw this on Twitter. Don't know if it relates to you, but I was really like, that's fucking great. So apparently, like, the black coffee theory goes something like this: a guy goes into a coffee shop and he wants a latte, but he goes up to the front desk. He's at the Starbucks and he's like, and she goes, so can I take your order? And he goes, all I know is I don't want a black coffee. And she's like, I don't, like, well, what do you want? And he's like, I don't want a black coffee. All I know is I don't want a black coffee. And she's kind of like, okay, I guess. And then she kind of like, has a bunch of other orders. It's chaotic as the coffee shops often are. And then it's time to get to serving this man his order. All she can remember is black coffee. So she just brings him a black coffee. And the premise being is this, like, if you focus on what you don't want in your life, whether you speak it out loud or say it to your friends or the people you're on dates with, or internalize those thoughts and feelings, that will still be the thing that, that shows up in your life, because that is where your energy and thoughts and feelings are going, and things like that. And it was like a really profound thing that I was just like, that's so, like, I don't know how that applies to me, but I'm sure, but like where your energy goes and what you fixate on. And if you fixate on what you don't want, you will still probably get what you don't want more often than not. You don't want to be a virgin anymore. You don't want to feel rejected by men who are judging you for having a different weight in the past. You don't want men to judge you for your lack of experience or whatever. If that's where your thoughts and feelings are going, it will probably show up in that way. And so a lot of, I'd be willing, like, of course you're going to meet judgmental people in life. Yes, some people are going to, no matter what, judge you for that. But how you internalize that and how you process that and how you move through the world will play a bigger role and how often that shows up. I mean, I really think that's true.
Yeah. No, that is a good point. And I think it kind of gets at maybe what's underneath all of these things. I think with dating, because there are judgmental people, I feel like maybe my like mindset or the way I'm showing up is that, okay, I feel like I have all these things working against me. I'm a virgin. I don't have relationship experience. I like used to look a lot different a few years ago and went through weight loss and have loose skin. And so I feel like I'm always on the defensive with that. And maybe that's coming
Yeah.
across.
I mean, listen, I've talked to you for 15 minutes now. You're a beautiful person. You seem like you have a great personality. I don't know. You seem smart, like you have a presence, I don't know if that's how you feel about yourself, but like it seems, that is the first impression I had of you. You don't even look inexperienced. I don't even know what that means. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk like you don't know anything. You also now are not inexperienced. You've been on 48 dates. I don't know if I've been on 48 dates in my life. Probably. But I honestly, that seems like a lot, I definitely have. I went, when I moved to LA, I was going on a lot of coffee dates.
They add it quickly.
Yeah, no, they do. And good for you. But like I think now pat yourself on the back for being courageous to get yourself out there. You got the experience, no regrets. You got to you really got to try to focus on those fun moments that you had, the adventures that you had. Yes, I'm sure within that there were some rejections and things like that. No doubt some of the men that rejected you in the situationship, they just beat you to the punch. They were not your guy. You wouldn't have ended up falling in love with them. They just beat you to the punch. And you are probably this mindset of, and I think that's where this black coffee theory could really like apply to you, is like you now have this like, I can't get a boyfriend. I can't lose my virginity, kind of mindset.
Mhm.
And and that will affect your decision making where you're just going to be like, I honestly don't give a fuck. I want to see if I can get this guy to be my boyfriend. I want to see if I can get laid. And like, that's not a great way to go about getting a boyfriend or to have sex and lose your virginity. I mean, as far as losing your virginity, my hope for you, it's as awkward and silly as it was for most people. I'm halfly kidding. Maybe I don't know what you want. What I hope you get is whatever. I hope it's whatever you want it to be. But if you want to have some fun and I hope you have a chance to do that too. You've mentioned loose skin a few times. Is that something that it seems to be something that is if nothing else in your head and you think is an issue?
Yeah, I mean, because it's kind of the dead giveaway. One of the most meaningful connections I have was, I think, actually technically love bombing by him. But I remember like early on, he like said something and he's like, "Oh, and like your weight loss," and I hadn't brought it up yet, and I was like, "What do you like? How do you know about that?" And he was like, "Well, your skin," like, which like fair, it is like obvious. And I am getting a skin removal surgery, like next month. So that like, I mean, it won't take care of everything, but it'll take care of like a good portion of it. I think you'll still probably be able to tell, like, it's not going to look like I probably would if I never would have been as heavy as I was. But so that's like something, I guess. But
And is that something in addition to the procedure that over time will improve, or is it or not?
no, it's kind of like once you like if you're heavy enough, which I was, like you stretch out your skin, it doesn't snap back. It will to a certain extent, but like there will be like stretch marks and stuff like that too.
No, we all have stretch marks.
Yeah.
Some of the others. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
So I mean, and I don't like want or like need a perfect body. I don't need my partner to have a perfect body either, but I think that'll help maybe. I don't know.
Who are some of the men that you're dating? Is it a pretty wide spectrum, or have you kind of what are they like?
Yeah,
Physically, I guess more.
most of them have been older. I mean, like physically, it's kind of been all over. I've been surprised by some of the people that I ended up like seeing for longer than I would have thought originally. Like I saw like someone who like was a smoker, for example, and that normally would be a deal breaker, but we hit it off and I was like willing to figure it out. And to your point, he probably beat me to the punch because that wouldn't have worked for me long term. But I was like willing to do that because there was a connection and there were other things that I felt outweighed that. But yeah, kind of all over the place. And it's been like interesting too, to your like point about like me having confidence. It's like this yes and no thing. Like it is amazing when I am on Hinge and I have like a ton of matches and I can get a date if I want a date.
Yeah.
Like not to sound like I'm super hot, but like I can, if I want to have a date, I can find one. But it is kind of always in the back of my mind, like I would not be on this date probably if they met me 3 years ago. And so that's like a bit of a mental, I mean, I'm in therapy and stuff, and it's like just an unfortunate like reality of culture and society right now.
I mean, but like, I guess
it is this
who cares?
thing.
What does that I mean? Like, what is that? Okay, they when like people change, people evolve. Who cares if they wouldn't go on a date with you 3 years ago?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, your mindset is definitely your biggest obstacle, and I think all your thoughts and feelings are more than valid and understandable. But like again, with most of us, it really just comes down to how do we internalize our insecurities and how do we stop from projecting them. And I wonder if that black coffee theory really applies to you in a lot of ways, because I think, you have all these like mental hurdles when it comes to why you're not getting what you want. And you have these narratives in your head. And whether there's any truth to parts of them or not, like, I don't think that really makes a difference. To answer, you know what I'm saying? Like, you were like, oh, do you think men are being honest when they say it's a lack of experience versus you're like, I've never had a guy tell me he didn't want to date me because I've lost weight, but I think maybe at least some of them that was the truth. And I was like, well, your instincts are probably right, but like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does it really matter? We all want to know a reason. And I think that's our egos trying to control the narrative. Well, it's like, well, just tell me why. Why? What did I do wrong? Because you want to hear what you're doing wrong because you want to be able to fix it. You're like, oh, you don't like that about me? Just tell me. I'll change it. I can improve it. And then there's a part of you who's done so much work in self improvement. There must be and on some level, a lot of confidence. It's like, yeah, just tell me. I've already lost 200 pounds. I'm in therapy. I've done this, X, Y, and Z. Tell me. I'll just do it. I've already done this. And I think we just have to be careful about that, where it's just like, one of the most useless conversations I think people have in life is why don't you like me anymore? Or why don't you want to date me? Yeah, I understand it, but like, it's not productive. It doesn't get us anything. I don't think it's ever changed anyone's mind. And all it does is really activate your ego. And then in a way, not even in a way, but like, and sometimes maybe it's just to a certain degree, you start changing who you are based off someone who's no longer in your life. It's like, one thing I noticed about reality TV characters, and what really causes a reality TV character in my mind lose themselves, is when they start really obsessively reading comments, or even worse, going on Reddit and reading basically people having conversations with them. And while that is a very challenging thing to do, and I understand why people can do it, but they'll change who they are. They will start responding, not necessarily literally like on the keyboard, but they'll be like, oh, well, all these people think this of me, so I guess I want to do the thing that's different, or at least I want to show, I'm going to at least pretend that I'm different. They said I should post more of that, I'll post more of that. I should say this, I'll say more of that. They completely lose who they are because they're out there taking the advice from people they don't even know are real, for one. They probably wouldn't ask their advice, but they're on a very kind of not meta, I don't know, larger scale, but the internet is telling them what's wrong with them. The internet is rejecting them. They're saying, I don't like this person. I don't fuck with this person. I don't, yada, yada, yada. And that person is literally that kind of like insecure person who feels rejected, being like, well, why don't you like me? Like, why don't you want to date me? And they're like, well, I'll tell you exactly why, because it's the internet and I can do that. And they're like, okay, well, let me do something about that so you can like me. And then they go back to internet and they like wonder if like, oh, do they like me now? Well, then there's a whole another lineup of people be like, well, no, yeah, but I don't like that. Fuck that, And it's just like, it's a really sad. I mean, it happens all the time. But that is kind of what like it is when people are dating or in relationships, where it's just like, but tell me why. Like, I don't know, when you just don't want to date someone, you just don't want to date someone. And is the reason really going to make a difference?
Yeah. No, that's really helpful. And honestly, it's funny. My next question to you was going to be like, well, so like, when do I say this? When do I drop this bomb about the weight loss? But maybe and I would be curious if you do have an answer to that, but maybe it is less about like worrying about their reaction and more about like just owning what like I can't change and what my experience is.
I think that,
like,
I mean, my answer, my opinion, and it's definitely just his opinion, is like, not never. I don't, to your point, I would love for you not to wonder when I need to tell this person. Like, when you go on a date, you start liking them, I would love for you to be like, I don't know. I don't think it's not a thing I don't need to address. It certainly might come up at some point. You mentioned the loose skin. Maybe they might notice that. I don't know. Things like that. You might, grow an emotional connection with a man and feel really safe where you do want to open up because you do want to feel accepted. It is clearly an insecurity you have. We all have those insecurities. And when we really connect with someone, love someone, and that moment where you that's when you really build emotional connection, where you know you have someone, is because you have these things that you're afraid they will reject you. You know, I lost a lot of weight. I cheated on someone in the past. Men might be like, I'm kind of losing my hair. And I'm just like, fuck, I don't know. Things like that. And then you kind of let that person know and they go, I saw your hair is like not as thick as my last boyfriend. I don't care. He was a dick and I love you. And you're just like, oh my God, like she loves me, and it's such a great feeling to like have that person accept you and accept your insecurities in ways that you're not going to change, And so more than anything, that's how I would love for you to address that and not feel like, okay, is it the second or third date? Is it fourth date? Is it fifth date? Is it right before we hook up? Is it like, no, I don't think you have to really think about that. At least try not to.
Yeah. I could definitely give that a try.
And especially with the experience. I mean, like I get the, like there are some things you can't hide. Right? You mentioned the loose skin, but your dating experience, you're no longer an experience for one. And the virginity, who cares? Who cares? Like, I don't honestly, like if you never told anyone, sex for the first time for most people is awkward. And I don't care if you've had a lot of sex. And I don't know. I mean, again, if you want to tell someone because you feel really safe and secure with them and it's something you want to know, great. But it is not I don't think it's something you owe anyone.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's like a different way of looking at it for sure. And I think I need that. So yeah, I'm going to try that out.
Definitely the two of the three things that are holding you back, two of them, you completely erase because again, one, you're not in experience anymore. And two, I don't know, the virginity thing is it's only a thing if you make it a thing.
Yeah. And if they make it a thing,
they don't have to know. They don't have to know.
Yeah. And that was my problem because I told him and made it a big deal. And then his whole thing was like, well, now I have all this pressure to make these first experiences good for you. And I was like, I didn't ask you to do that. So sometimes they take it and run away with it. But once I tell them, then I lose control over anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not big on lying. But if you, it has like, so how many people you hooked up with? First of all, it's kind of I don't know. It's a weird question in 2026, I think. I don't know. Put it this, like if most people lie about their number, right? The trope is, guys will subtract a few numbers. Women might add a few numbers. I don't know which one it is. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's the opposite. I don't know. Actually, I really don't. But people often lie. And sometimes people lie because they literally don't know the number. I don't know the number. Men don't like make lists. I know a lot of women who literally like have a notes app of like, the 8 or 13 guys that they hooked up with and there's names and things like that. And I don't have one of those, and my point being is it's like, you only know the number because it's an easy number to remember. But like, who's who gives a fuck? And I'll also say is this, like, just to avoid that moment, be like, yeah, I don't have a lot of experience, but like, I put it this way. It's, all I need is one hand to count the number of guys I've slept with.
Yeah, I can just leave it there.
Literally, you're not lying, but you're also like, because a lot of guys will. A lot of guys will make it a thing. They'll make it about them. They'll internalize. It's just like, no, this is not like your opportunity to be like, I'm not looking for a knight in shining armor. And I don't like, was your first time having sex good? Because for most people, it's weird and quick and awkward. And most people in their like late teens or early 20s are doing like, it's not, so no, I don't need that, Was this helpful?
Yeah, it really was, like, to just get a guy's perspective and to get some good like reframes. I think because I hit it so hard and was on the defensive, I could use some like a change in my mindset. So,
and I hope when you get off the phone, I hope that your main focus isn't like, I fucking knew it was the weight loss. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, I don't know if I'm right there. It's just an opinion I have, and it doesn't really matter. I think the real important part to take away is like, it doesn't matter why they rejected me. This year wasn't about you finding a boyfriend. This year was about you getting experience, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you do find your a person, you will look back on that year is like the year I went on 48 dates, and that was awesome and that was fun. And you will look back more fondly on that year than you do now. And this is just kind of part of your journey. And I think the more you just, when you find yourself having those negative feelings of like focusing on what you don't have, remember that kind of black coffee theory. Like you didn't lose all this weight by having the mindset of I can't lose weight, or that I don't want to be overweight anymore. That's not it was, I'm going to do this thing. What do I need to do? What are the next steps? What do I have to do tomorrow? You had an image board of what you wanted to be or look like and feel. That's how you accomplished this goal. And I think you applying how you got to this point in your life when it comes to your weight, I think applying that mindset to dating and love will actually help as well too.
Yeah, I've actually never thought of it like that too. So that's interesting.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the call. And I'd love for you to keep us posted and give us some updates. I'm curious how your journey unfolds.
Yeah. I will update you guys when it finally happens.
Or it doesn't, okay. or just like as, maybe you'll have some interesting stories or things you learn along the way.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be when you have a boyfriend. I try to not make your whole dating thing about like having a boyfriend. It's not about having a boyfriend. It's about making connections. It's about, learning it's about falling in love. It's about meeting people. And stop telling yourself you've never had a relationship. That's not true. You've had plenty of relationships. You've had a lot of meaningful relationships. There've been girlfriends. There've been probably men who are friends, whatever. Like, I've never had a relationship is a lie. It's not true. Never had a boyfriend, I guess, but like, what does that mean in 2026? Most people are out there being like, yeah, we're exclusive, but we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't like it's so like get that out of your head and stop telling yourself you've never had something that you've probably had a lot of.
Yeah, that's also true. I think I needed to hear that.
All right, good luck out there. Take care.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. What's up, everybody? We have a very exciting announcement for all the Ask Nick audience out there. We have new Instagram and TikTok specifically for Ask Nick. So if you want to avoid all the pop culture and reality TV content that we're putting out there and just focus on all things relationship, dating, interpersonal relationships, and just Ask Nick content, just please give us a follow. It's Ask Nick Viall on Instagram and TikTok. So give us a follow and enjoy. We'll be glad that you did. It's 2026, and if you're still paying rent without Bilt, it's time for a change. Bilt is the loyalty program for renters that rewards you for your biggest monthly expense, your rent. With Bilt, every rent payment earns you points that can be used towards flights, hotels, Lyft rides, Amazon.com purchases, and so much more. Well, here's something I'm really excited about. Now, Bilt members can earn points on mortgage payments for the first time. That means you can get rewards wherever you live and unlock exclusive benefits from more than 45,000 restaurants, fitness studios, pharmacies, and neighborhood partners. Personally, I redeem my points at Amazon. It's simple. Paying rent is better with Bilt, and now owning a home can be better with Bilt too. Earn rewards and get something back wherever you live. Join the loyalty program for renters and homeowners at joinbilt.com/VIALL. That is joinbilt, JOINBILT.com/VIALL. And make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Spring is a natural reset point, and if you've been putting off cleaning up the messier parts of your business, now is the time. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest and easiest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2 with over 30,000 reviews, built on how modern teams work. That's why more than 90,000 businesses, from solo entrepreneurs to growing teams, rely on Quo to stay connected, professional, and consistently reachable. You know what it's like when you are looking for like a plumber or electrician. If they don't answer the phone, you don't just wait around. You move on to the next number So don't let that be your customers moving on to your competition. Not with Quo. Your entire team can handle calls and texts from one shared number. No more missed messages or disconnected conversations. Everyone sees the full thread, making replies faster, and customers feel generally cared for. Quo isn't just a phone system, it's a smart system. Quo's AI automatically logs calls, generates summaries, and highlights next steps so nothing gets lost. If you're a growing business or just in a business of one and you're feeling swamped, look into Quo. I promise you. You won't regret it. Be more reachable. Give your customers better customer service. All with Quo. Make this the season where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free. Plus, get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/VIALL. That is QUO.com/VIALL. Quo. No missed calls. No missed customers. How's it going?
Good morning. My name is Haley. I am 28, and I'm wondering, at what point do you consider cutting off a friendship due to your best friend's partner being world's biggest piece of shit?
Okay. Are they married?
Engaged.
Okay.
Have been engaged for probably 2 years, together for 4.
All right. Why is he a piece of shit?
Oh, I think it's just like your tale as old as time, most toxic, manipulative sort of relationship, has kind of taken every aspect of her, and like she's just a completely different person than she was when they first met. Very controlling, lots of infidelity, which has been caught also on her end. So it's not like she has no proof. And she kind of takes care of everything while compromising her emotional and physical health, her relationships with her friends and family, her career. She does everything. And he is just textbook piece of shit.
How much has the infidelity played a role in your opinion of him?
A lot, but I will say even before kind of that was a piece, like the way he would just disrespect boundaries, speak to her, talk about her body, talk about his expectations of her, things like that, that
Okay.
just
So it was like when it happened, you weren't like, I cannot believe he did this. It was like, okay, well,
shocker.
yeah.
Yeah. One example, like she went through his Apple Watch. That's how she saw some of the text messages. And he had changed the name of the person to like 43569. You know, like the text that you would get from like Dick's Sporting Goods or like like, and she happened to click on it and look. So, you know, he was creative. But
That's very creative. That's very creative.
That.
I can't help but laugh. The only problem is that she probably doesn't have a Samsung.
No.
You know? It's like,
and it's one of those where she is like so far gone and so far lost that it's like you just want to shake her. And I'm a very honest friend, so
sure.
You know, I'm not the friend that's gonna tell you like it's okay, like whatever you want to do. You know, I've kind of laid it out there for her and tried to be that voice. But
the tough love voice.
Yeah, the tough love voice, and it just doesn't click. But it gets to a point like she'll call you she kind of backed off on what she tells me. No surprise. But every, 4 or 5 months I'll get a call, I'm leaving, this is it, and then returns back to the house within, I'm not kidding you, like 5 hours of
When she does that, how does that make you feel?
It's just frustrating because you see this person who's such a good human being and deserves the world, and like truly, like not just one of those friends where you're like, yeah, whatever, like, she's not the best either. Like she's awesome and could have such a different life and such a different relationship. And I think it's just so frustrating that she's lost all of her confidence, security, everything. And just, it's like, how do you not see what everyone else is seeing?
There's definitely a reason. I don't know what the reason is, but there is a reason she's not seeing that in herself.
Yeah.
And I just remember that. Why are you feeling like it might be necessary to cut your friend out of your life?
I think my boyfriend made a point the other day. We got off the phone and I was kind of recapping to him, and he was like, you're so stressed like every time you talk to her because you carry people's problems in a way. Like you get off this phone call and you don't feel rejuvenated or happy. It's like you're carrying everything that she just told you. And I think, like I said, she's lost herself even in the sense of like, as a friend, like She doesn't come to visit. She doesn't, even for her birthday, I'm like, I'll buy you and your kid a plane ticket. Like, I want to be in both of your lives. I want to see you. I try to make that effort. And I think he pushes her away from her family. Like, half of her family doesn't talk to her anymore because they hate him so much. She's like lost all of her friends. She's changed her career. So she's at home, like so isolated by herself. But I think when I sit back and look, like, what am I getting out of this friendship for at the same time? But where do you draw the line of, I want to be your friend and support you because I know at some point this will probably all crash and burn and blow up in your face, and then you'll really have no one. But at the same time, it's like, how do you almost associate yourself with someone who has these like standards and values for themselves?
Okay. How long have you known this friend?
Probably 10 years plus.
So a while.
A while.
Meaningful friendship?
Yeah, very.
Okay. I think you just need to change your perspective on this friendship.
Okay.
It was interesting hearing you speak about how you feel when you get off the phone with her. And then like a few seconds later, you said, what am I getting out of this friendship? I think that's and it's everything you're feeling, it's natural and things like that. But I think if there's like an energy, I think people exchange with each other, despite the fact that your intentions obviously are good. You want to help her out. You are assigning a cost in a way to her, almost like a therapist would when you meet with them. It's just like, yeah, I'll give you some really good advice and some guidance, but that will also be $200. Thank you very much. And they are willing to listen to our bullshit. It's their job and they make money from it. And certainly I'm sure there are people out there who feel very connected with their therapist, but if you stop paying them, they will stop listening. And I think when it comes to friendship, especially, the ones that have been around for a while, I think you have to reframe why you are showing up for this friend. This relationship will end. Not maybe, not probably, it will end. I don't know when, but it will end. And when it does, she will need you in her life. Right now, you are very much showing, it's just like, I'm the friend who gives her the business. I'm the friend who's honest with her and tells her what maybe other people are a little afraid to say. And as someone who relates to that, that's all well and good. But right now, she doesn't need that friend. She's heard it from everybody.
Yeah.
She's heard it from half her family. It's not working. I don't know what the reason is and why she's in this relationship and why she hasn't left, but she, unfortunately for her, is not ready.
Right.
And I'm sure there's a bunch of reasons why, and childhood trauma, and God only knows why she has chosen to accept this type of relationship, but that's where she's at. And now more than ever, she needs people in her life who don't require a cost for their friendship. And I think I completely get where your boyfriend's coming from. It's like, God, you're just like, you're a pain in the ass every time you get off the phone with her. It's just like, why are you so grumpy? It's just like, why are you this? And it's just like, from his standpoint, he's like, yeah, stop talking to her. It's just like, she makes you miserable. But she doesn't make you miserable. You are allowing, when you're on the phone with her, there's an exchange of energy. I think I really believe that with anything. But right now, she is passing her energy off to you in a way.
Yeah.
It's making you feel a certain way, as opposed to showing up to this phone call, listening. I'm sure you don't remember the last time you actually listened to your friend talk about her relationship. I imagine recently you let her speak. You wait for her to finish talking. And then if you have something to say, I'm guessing you say it, but you have checked out listening to your friend talk about her relationship. And I would be willing to bet that if you shift that a little bit, I'm sure, no doubt, 95% of what she said would sound very similar. It would probably be frustrating to hear, I'm sure. But if you really listen, I'm guessing you would probably learn a thing or two. I don't know what that is, but it would probably reveal something a little bit. And right now, all she's heard for however long, she has been getting criticized for her choices about her relationship. All she's ever heard from the people most important in her life is negativity.
Yeah.
Even when you try to compliment her, oh, you deserve better. She's probably hearing, what's wrong with you? You're stupid. you deserve better. Why are you so stupid? You know,
Yeah.
why do you treat yourself this way? I think it would do you a lot of good to show up the next time you speak to her and only say nice things, only praise her. There's no but. I don't know what it is. Maybe reminisce about a time in your friendship where she showed up for you or she did something that you thought was really wonderful or sweet. Maybe she won an award. I don't know. And you could just be like, I was just thinking about that time. And yeah, I don't know. It's just great. You were you were really wonderful. And then it ends there. You don't go, and I just wish I could have that friend back. Don't that last part, that's the shit that you're doing now that you need to, I think you probably need to stop. And the moment you start expecting less from your friend, who's right now probably not able or capable of giving you more because she's fighting for her life right now, in a way, fighting for her relationship, and which feels like her life. And I don't know if you've ever been in a toxic relationship before, but you know that you don't see the forest through the trees when you're in it, you know?
Yeah, you don't.
And so you just have to have a little empathy for her right now. And then now's not the time to be right. And you have to accept that whatever you're doing right now isn't working.
Yeah.
And that's something you can control and own.
Yeah. Like the potential of, it's almost like when you're dating, you think of the potential of what someone,
Sure,
instead of taking them, I think, at face value. So that's a good reminder, is just to kind of meet her where she's at. And I guess just it'd be helpful to have your advice, when she calls me, because she knows, I think, in herself, that's what hurts my heart, is like, she's even told me I don't feel like myself. I don't know the last time I was happy. Like, I can't live this way. And then, so when you share those things, where it's almost like, I know she feels trapped and I know she feels what everyone else is seeing, but she's, like you said, she's just not at that place yet where she has.
So next time she says something like that, where she almost is acknowledging things that you've said. You know, she's criticizing him. Maybe she's even saying, I don't know why I don't leave this man. Instead of saying, I don't know either, or yada, yada, or I know. And that time, if I'm you in the past, oh, hell, even in the present, it's not like I'm always good at taking my own advice. That would be like a green light for me to like, oh, I'm going to talk my shit. I'm like, she's close. I'm gonna go snatch my friend and save them. I would say something as simple as, listen, you know how I feel about you. I would pay some compliments. I would talk about all the things she's capable of. And I would just say, listen, I don't know either, but you will do it when you're ready.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I would think that's obviously, I'm sure, difficult for you to say, but that will empower her. Because the truth is, she won't leave when she's ready. And you can't make her leave. And she feels obviously helpless. Obviously, when she shows up like that and she is literally saying to you, I don't know why I do this, she feels like she can't. So in that moment, you will be a friend she needs who will remind her, you are stronger than you give yourself credit for. You are capable of doing this. I don't have the answers as to why and when, but I do know you will do it when you're ready. And I think that would be something she could really benefit from hearing from. Because I'm guessing she, now more than ever, feels incredibly alone. And anyone who's been in a toxic relationship where their friends have said, your person sucks, and then they've responded with, you don't know me, they get very defensive. They, whether they cut off their friends or their, usually it's not something like a breakup. Either it's a little bit of both, right? She has distanced herself from you because she doesn't know what to say. You've distanced yourself from her because you don't know what to say. And so you've grown some distance.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, several instances of all the people in her life who don't like him, who are doing that. So now she's even more alone. Right. And so now she feels like she really has to fight for this relationship. And yeah, it would be normal for her to be like, well, if I just end him, everyone who's kind of distanced himself will come back in my life. And for the most part, that's probably true, but it never feels like that in the moment.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. And I will say, I think I do try to have a positive look when I'm speaking with her. Like, I do give her the honest truth, but I also try to have that fair balance of empowering.
You just have to stop having balance, and you have to stop giving her the truth. And the only truth you need to share with her is the love you have for her.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you need to share. Not guilt, not shame. Don't make her feel bad about her choices. You're not her mom. You're not a therapist. You're just her friend. And she needs friendship and she needs connection, and because she doesn't have that anywhere else. And she just needs people to believe in her so that when she is ready, she will find that courage. Because in the moments where she calls you up and says, I don't know why, blah, 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 that, I'm guessing that's like her trying to find that strength.
Yeah.
And your response is always like, I don't know either.
And I mean, I've tried, like, I even am like, let me help you find a therapist. I'll send her podcasts. I'll send her books, but you can't.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, you can't do this on your own. Here's a book, read it. You can't do this on your own. Find a therapist, and that's all good advice and well-intentioned, no doubt. But I think she's had enough of that. Lately, I have been getting back into some books and some literature that, has helped me in the past, and I've kind of revisited it.
Yeah.
I'm doing that because I wanted to. I felt ready. It's not, I wasn't like, no, I have never in my life read a book that someone's told me to read. I don't like to read. I'm dyslexic. So like no one,
Yeah.
She's like, I have a book you should read. She's like, great. Good for you. They might look at the cover, turn the back, but like she'll do it when she's ready. But when she's ready, you want to make sure that she has a belief in herself. And that when she looks in the mirror, she is kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? And that will only come from you leaving out the butt.
That's fair.
And I would challenge yourself when next time you get on the phone to leave that phone call feeling connected to your friend, inspired by your friend, feeling good, feeling better than when you got off. And I think if you bring that energy to that phone call, I promise you will feel different. Because right now, when you get on the phone with your friend, you have an assignment that you've, knighted yourself. And then every time you get off the phone, you feel like you failed. You feel like you failed yourself. You feel like you failed your friend. She doesn't hear you. She's not listening. And it's very frustrating for you, but you have to let go of that.
Yeah. And just lead with love a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's fair to kind of level set with her and almost just have that open conversation and just say, like, just almost remind her, like, I love you and I'm always here for you?
No, I think this is something you need to work on. And I think I would challenge yourself that this is not something you are doing to trick your friend in a way.
Yeah.
You really have to let go of the outcome. And I think this is you recognizing that, well-intentioned or not, that you haven't shown up for your friend in the way that she's needed you. And you want to challenge yourself to do a better job of that. And so I think you just really start slow. This is new for you. This is something you need to practice. This is not about you crafting a new delivery, so that your friend receives what you're trying to say. Because if you do that, you will put some kind of artificial timeline on that. It'll be like, all right, I'll try this thing this fucking Nick guy said. All right, in the back of your mind, you're like, I'll give it 10 phone calls. And then that 10th phone call, when she doesn't change, you're going to go back to your old ways. And I think if you really work on this and recognize this is something you need to change, not only with this friend, but just maybe in all aspects of your life, that, when you have an expectation from a friend and you leave that call feeling worse, I would think about, what you brought to that call and what your expectations were going in, type of thing. Especially especially someone like yourself who can recognize that you are the tough love friend. And as the tough love friend, I think we all need to work on is when that tough love is needed. And it often isn't. And I think sometimes when it comes to friendships, us tough love people could listen a lot more and just try to connect with our friend. Your friend has not felt a connection with a friend or a phone call in a long time. She has just felt lectured.
Yeah.
And so I would really focus on that.
I was just going to say, I feel like yes, but at the same time, probably because of how I've responded in the past, it's almost like we just don't talk about it now.
Yeah.
Like, call me the other day, it wasn't about him or a situation. If I ask how he is, it's like, good, we're working on things, kind of just.
I don't think you need to ask how it is. That's disingenuous. You don't care. And you asking how he is just a way of bringing him up that creates this almost kind of awkwardness between the two of you, because you both know you hate his fucking guts. And we both know you don't care how he is. And if anything, if he was dead in a ditch, it would probably make you happy. So, like, don't be disingenuous with your friend.
Yeah.
Your biggest roadblock with the advice I'm giving you is letting go with how much you fucking hate his guts, and the outcome that you assign to needing your friend to leave him before you feel like you can really reconnect with this friend. And I would challenge you to, regardless of me saying, oh, it's definitely going to happen. I don't know. That could be in 10 years. I don't know. Challenge yourself to still have a friendship with this person you describe as a wonderful, beautiful person, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, I'm sure she is quote unquote changed, but part of that change is her just feeling stuck and trapped. And again, people won't leave until they're ready to leave. And so I think you should just try to focus on, she knows you hate him. Everyone knows you hate him. And if she really wants to bring it up, you just listen. Be like, listen, I think you could say, listen, you know how I feel. I'm guessing you don't need me to remind you how I feel, but I'm here to listen, and I'm here to let you know that, like, I think you're an amazing person, and I'm just so lucky that I have you, and I know that I appreciate what you've done for me. And do you remember that time? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just about talking about the two of you and talking about your friendship, and understand that he might come up. And when she vents, again, it's just like, I'm here to listen with no expectation of the outcome. You don't try to feel like she's heard you. This is not, you have said enough. And I'm guessing a lot of times you get frustrated is because you don't feel like she's hearing you, and you feel like you're wasting your breath and wasting your time. And you're like, why am I showing up for this friend who won't even listen to me? And I know what I'm talking about. And like, it's so kind of disrespectful of her not to like take my advice, because like, I'm in the healthy relationship. She knows she's in a bad relationship, and what she has the nerve to call me up and vent to me, ask for my advice, and then not take it. Like, that's kind of the energy that you are bringing to this friendship right now, and totally understandable. And I've been you, and I will continue to be you at times. But the path forward with this friend and your happiness and peace of mind is I promise you, is kind of what I'm trying to convey to you. And your friend needs you. She needs you.
No, that's good advice. And sometimes, I tend to be a fixer, or like an empath. And I think your advice is good, of just kind of like, it's at the end of the day, it's her life, and she needs a friend, and probably just that.
Yeah.
Because she knows. And I think I have to remind myself that, of like, she knows the truth. She knows how she feels. And until she's ready to act on that, then I just kind of have to be there to support her. And
what can you learn from her is a great question. I would challenge yourself. How can you connect with her? You are not showing up to these phone calls with this friend anymore as her equal. You are showing up as the better friend, the more emotionally regulated friend, the friend who makes better choices. And so you are bringing judgment into that conversation.
Yeah.
And again, you're not her parent, her therapist. You're just her friend. And right now, especially when she's not asking for help, just show up as her friend and be her friend. And you have a lot more to talk about than just her dating life, and help her have those conversations that have nothing to do with him, and don't ask about him. And if she brings him up, ask questions without judgment,
Yeah.
And I think if you do that, you will definitely get closer. And then you will, and then when she's ready, you will be a big reason why she finds the strength to actually do it. But she's not going to do it till she's not ready. And that's definitely the answer of why. And right now, no one's reminding her of that. And while not reminding her of that, they are making her feel like she is not capable, because everyone's suggesting books and therapists, these things, and it's not like, imagine how that might feel to her when you say you will do it when you're ready,
Yeah, it's good advice. And I think, there's been a lot of trial leaves, like I said, like you think she leaves and you think she's good and then comes back. So it's, like you said, it's kind of at her time when she finally makes that decision.
And when
So
she does that, really, really, really challenge yourself to not judge, not assume.
Yeah.
Because you would definitely, I'm sure you don't even realize how like the eye rolls, the huffs and puffs, the comments of, that I'm sure in some way you send her way about how much you don't believe this is it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I think, like I said, just because it's like the repeat of the cycle. So you're right. Like, no,
Sure.
I don't. And so I'm sure that it does come off that way. And, they have a child, so it adds a whole nother layer sometimes. Yeah. And I think that's kind of a big concern of hers. But yeah, no, that's good advice. And I know that I could practice just kind of minding my business. And
I would spend a lot of time reminding her about how much of an amazing mom she is.
Like I do try to. I don't want it to sound like I just shit on her all
day.
No,
I know. I know. I'm sure you don't. And that's the thing, is I want you to. I really know that you don't. And I'm sure you do say nice things to her. The problem with what you're doing now, there's always a but.
Yeah.
And she is not hearing the compliments. She's, I don't know. I don't know what your social media existence is. I'm sure you've heard it, or maybe you've also experienced, but you can receive 100 positive comments. And if there's one negative comment, that's the one that you feel. It's the one you internalize. That's the one that hits home. And so it's the same way when you are, reminding her of all her bad choices and how her, it's like, oh, you're a good mother, but like, hey, have you left him yet? It's like, and right now you just need to shower her with praise, remind her of the good times. If you think of stories where you feel like she demonstrated strength, you don't need to be like, and this was a time you were strong, so why can't, just be like, hey, you remember that one time and that you were such a badass? I don't know. It just popped in my head. I don't know why. Anyways, like, how's your day? You just have to sprinkle in those moments that she has not been reminded of by herself or anyone else, that she is capable of a lot, but like she is just feeling very isolated and very alone. And the fact that she does have a child is only adding to that. And she just needs people who believe in her and aren't going to tell her, I told you so.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I think, she's not getting confidence or security from her relationship, from her family, from other people in her life. So I think being that person that can kind of lift her up and give her maybe some of her confidence back, or help her gain some of that confidence and strength back.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to leave you with is, again, the mindset of, this is not a new assignment, and I'm not giving you a playbook to get your friend to break up with her. I am challenging you to try to get something out of this friendship from your friend. What can you learn from your friend? How can she help you in a way? If you are willing to listen to your friend, if you are willing to just be with her and, when you're on the phone or talking, I promise you your perspective will change and you will get more out of this friendship. But right now you are showing up with a bill.
Yeah. And I think you have to think forward, like when she does eventually leave, or when this relationship does end and she looks back at how people acted or how people supported her. Like, I do want to be remembered as that person that like didn't leave her side.
Sure. But again, I'm nitpicking here. That is that mindset of like, you want to be rewarded. My hope for you is that you will get to a place where when your friend leaves, you're like, you feel like you have gained something, where you actually can thank her, where the idea that I was the friend who stayed, and I want you to feel good about yourself in general, but I don't want you to gain any sense of accomplishment when your friend makes this decision eventually. I just want you to feel gratitude for the friendship that you maintained and the fact that your friend is in a better place.
Yeah.
And I think people like us who have that kind of fixer mindset, there is a lot of ego in that. in terms of like, you know you're right and you want to help and you want to pass this being right on to the other people who are so good at being wrong. And I think just work on that and it will help you out immensely in all your relationships. I promise.
Yeah. No, that's good advice. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks for the call.
All right. Thank you. And congratulations to you and Natalie on the twins.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for saying that.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The Real Real, the best place to shop authenticated luxury handbags, clothing, watches, and so much more. I am obsessed with The Real Real. It's one of my favorite places to scroll at night when I finally have some alone time and find some pieces that maybe I can't find anywhere else, or if I'm looking for a specific gift for someone. Like, The Real Real is the best place to look for it. The Real Real is the go-to place for your next special piece. Need a dress for a fancy wedding, the perfect vacation sandals, ready to invest in a new bag to add to your collection. Find exactly what you're looking for that no one else has at The Real Real. You can shop smart. Find pieces from brands you love like Gucci, Fendi, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Tiffany & Co., Cartier, and so much more, up to 90% off retail. And unlike other retail sites, everything The Real Real sells is authenticated in person by luxury and fashion experts. The Real Real offers attainable luxury to upgrade your personal style. And it's the easiest way to sell. When you sell with The Real Real, they do everything for you, from photography and copywriting to shipping, pricing, and customer service, so you can just sit back and get paid. The Real Real is the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale with over 10,000 new arrivals daily. No one does resale like The Real Real. And now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/files. That's therealreal.com/files to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/files.
Listen up, I've got to share my new nighttime ritual. I kept hearing about magnesium breakthrough by Bioptimizers from all different types of people, fitness experts, doctors, friends, and everyone kept saying the same thing. This one is different. Most magnesium supplements only use one or two forms. Magnesium breakthrough combines 7 different forms of magnesium, plus key cofactors that help your body actually absorb it and use it. So after hearing all the buzz, I finally decided to see what all the hype was about, gave it a try, and I can tell you, it really is game-changing. People can't stop talking about the benefits. Deeper sleep, feeling calmer, better workout recovery, even improved digestion. So if you are looking to take the next step in your overall wellness and get a little bit more, especially if you're getting older, you want to recover faster, get better sleep, and if life is getting busier, every little bit helps. And Bioptimizers offers a 365-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. That's a full year with 0 risk. So what do you have to lose? You have a lot to gain. It might change your life and allow you to be just a little bit more efficient, better, and just overall feel better. And if not, you get your money back. Magnesium Breakthrough can help make a noticeable difference in how you feel day to day. You can sleep better, wake up more rested, and feel less tense overall. Go to bioptimizers.com/viallfiles and use our exclusive code VIALL15 for 15% off any order. Make 2026 the year you finally start sleeping great again. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
I'm Madison. I'm 23. And is it time to block my situationship?
Yes. All right. Have a good day. That's good. Tell me more about it.
Okay. So I'll just take you back to the beginning, I guess. So we matched on Hinge like a year ago, back in like end of March, beginning of April. And everything was going so well. He's a year younger than me. And everything was going great. We clicked immediately. It was just great. Like he liked me more than I liked him, which I feel like is always a recipe for something good because,
How do you know that?
Because once you start liking them more than they like you, then things start to go wrong.
Well, but
That's
how
just
do
my
you know he
experience.
liked you more than you liked him?
Because like if I didn't answer for like an hour, like he would text me and be like, "Oh, like is everything okay? Like are we good?" And like I didn't, like if he didn't answer, I felt like completely fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Maybe it just means he's insecure or controlling
yeah.
or I don't know.
Well, things changed, you'll see. But
Sure. I guess my point is I'd be so quick to assess feelings
yeah.
and then measure those feelings as if they matter based off of fairly trivial things.
Yeah.
You're reading into some of his actions, which, as I'm sure you'll tell your story, leads to disappointment and confusion. But
Yeah, you're right.
Continue.
You're very right.
Continue.
Okay, so everything was great. And then, so like I said, he's a year younger than me. So I was a senior in college and he was a junior. So I was about to graduate. We matched on Hinge like about 2 months before I graduated, which I made clear to him, like, I'm most likely moving back home, which is 11 hours away from where we went to school. So I made it clear to him, and he was like, that's fine. So we're still talking, everything's great. And then we get to like around graduation. So I graduate, then I feel him start getting distant. And I'm like, okay, he didn't text me, like he was on vacation and he was going to text me when he got back so we could hang out. And then he never texted me. So I text him. I'm like, hey, like, are you back yet? And then he's like, oh, I'm coming back a day later. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. And he didn't answer that text for like 6 hours, which is not like him. So then the next day comes and then he Snapchats me and I see he's back home and he didn't text me. So I was like, something's definitely wrong because that's not like him at all. So I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, is everything okay? And then he responds once again, like 6 hours later, and is like, everything's fine. And like, that's it. So very dry. So then I'm like telling my friends, and they're like, maybe he's just having a bad day. Maybe something happened on the trip.
When you say like, is everything okay? What does okay mean? Like, is he like about to get eaten by a bear? Okay, or what
Like,
do you?
is everything okay with us?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to I was like, is everything okay? Like, just feel like you've been distant. And he said everything was fine, like no further elaboration or anything. So the next day comes, I'm like, I'll give him the day, just see how he acts. Same thing, like only hear from him once that day,
At this point, how long you guys been talking for?
about 2 months.
What are the expectations or labels, if any?
Yeah, there's no labels, but I mean, we're not seeing anyone else at this time.
Okay.
And we talked about that, but
Okay.
there's no like boyfriend, girlfriend label.
Mhm.
So I reach out to him and I'm like, hey, you've definitely been off recently. Like, is like, what's wrong? He responds and he's like, sorry, I haven't been communicative with you. The whole you moving home thing is really starting to affect me. And I'm like, okay, like I had let you know that previously. So I was just kind of annoyed that that was what was causing this. So I'm like, okay, like I think it's best if we talk about it in person. And then he agrees to that. So we meet in person and then I was staying at school for like the whole summer after I graduated and so was he. So like, we had a conversation and he was like, I'm sorry that I like reacted that way and was distant from you because of my feelings. And I was like, that's okay. Like in the future, like if you feel that way, you can handle it differently. Just communicate to me. That's a big thing for me. And he was like, okay, yeah. So we ended that conversation and just left off that we were going to spend the summer together and just like see where things go. So like everything's completely fine for like 2, 3 weeks after that. And then he starts doing the same thing that he did last time. Starts answering once a day, being distant. And I'm like, okay, I know the same exact thing is about to happen. So I text him and I'm like, is everything okay? Like, I feel like the same thing that happened last time is about to happen again. And then he's just making excuses like, oh no, like everything's fine. The exact same thing that happened last time. So then I'm like, okay, can we just talk about it? Because I don't want this to be a repeat of last time. So then he agrees. He comes over. We talk about it. And then he starts saying, oh, like, I like don't know like how I feel about this. Like I'm just overwhelmed. Like I've never hung out with someone like as much as I've hung out with you. Like I'm not that type of person. And I'm just like in the moment, I'm not even realizing how like stupid it sounds because it's not like I was always the one asking him to hang out. Like he was the one asking me to hang out. So it wasn't like only one-sided. Like he was always asking me to hang out. And I'm just like, okay, well, why would you keep asking me to hang out if you aren't that type of person who hangs out with someone multiple times in a week? And he would buy me gifts. Like this was not one-sided at all. And he was making it out to be like this was a one-sided thing. And then we ended that conversation. And I felt so much worse than I did before. Cause like it wasn't like last time he was saying that basically like he doesn't want to like hang out as much. And I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. So then after that conversation, he completely just went off the grid. Like I would text him nothing, complete ghost. So I'm like, what the heck? Like I'm about to leave the state to move 11 hours away in like 2 weeks. So I'm like, this is just bad timing. Like I don't want to end on like this bad note, like where he just completely ghosted me. So I don't hear from him for like a week. And then I decide that I'm going to reach out to him and just see, like, I'm sorry, like, if I overwhelmed you. And then he texts me back and is like, I'm sorry, like, I acted that way. I was just thinking about you. Like, I miss you. And I'm like, okay. So we start talking again for like that week. And then I ask him if he wants to hang out for the weekend. And then I was planning on telling him that I'm leaving the state in 3 weeks at like when we hang out. So that week goes by, everything's fine. We're scheduled to hang out on Sunday. And then I text him Saturday night confirming the plans. He says, yes, I'm very excited. Sunday comes. I text him, what do you want to do today? He says, anything you want to do. And that's the last I heard from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why do you need to block him?
Because there's more after this. Like, that is just one part. So I don't hear from him. He lets me leave. I texted a huge paragraph like, I'm literally leaving the state and you let me leave, and completely ghost me without saying anything to me. Don't hear from him. So I move away without saying bye, without saying anything. A month passes and then he reaches out to me and says, I know this is out of the blue and so random, and I know you're probably not happy with me, but I miss you so much. And I'm sorry for how I acted. So I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? So I respond back after like 2 hours. And then that's when like we start talking again. And all my friends are telling me it's so stupid to answer him and continue after like what he did. Like, he fully let me leave the state without saying bye to me. And then we start talking again. And then 2 weeks go by, he does the same thing. He just keeps repeating the exact same pattern. And I know I sound stupid for like to keep responding and all this, but so he does the same thing. And then he comes back again. 2 weeks later, he comes back, and I was supposed to go visit my college, and he knew that. So he reached out to me and was like, are you still coming next weekend? And I was like, yeah, I'm coming. And then he was like, you can stay with me if you want. And me being stupid, I was like, okay, I'll stay with you. So then I saw him that weekend at school, and like everything went so good. So it's like when we're together, like it's so good, but then he just repeats the exact same pattern of like he'll last for 2 weeks and then ghost me.
Okay.
So I feel like I should just block him to like end this pattern, or like I don't know if like
I think really blocking is only effective if it's helping you enforce a boundary you're trying to set.
yeah.
And that boundary is to not let people who have shown you who they are, so to speak,
Yeah.
and shown you that they lack either consistency or immaturity or are mature. But you are, for whatever reason, have a hard time enforcing that boundary and giving in to the temptation. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if it seems like you're recognizing that.
Yeah. I've started to learn.
What do you? I mean, listen, you've in the story you called yourself stupid a few times and were hard on yourself, but like you're also not denying that you recognize you're probably making decisions you shouldn't make. So I guess other than like confirming
Yeah.
that maybe you should block them, what else can I help you with?
I'm just wondering, like, because why does he keep disappearing and coming back? Because like we're not in the same state anymore. Like, I don't understand like what he gains from doing this.
Why does that matter? What would be an answer that would make a difference?
Like, just to confirm that like he actually did care. Because like he literally like at one point like everything was so good, and like I'm like just having a hard time like understanding why.
And what would him, if you could somehow magically, if this is how we did it and we don't, but let's just for argument's sake, rated
Yeah.
our love on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
10 being you were the love of his life.
Yeah.
5 being like, yeah, he was pretty in love with you. And 1, like he didn't care about you at all. Why would it matter today what number that was?
I guess it wouldn't really matter. It just matters like just so I know that
Just what?
just so I know that like what we did have like wasn't like I didn't make it up, it was real. And like he actually did have feelings for me, because the things that like he did, it's just hard to understand how somebody
Has any feeling you ever felt not been real?
No.
Okay.
Not on my end. They've all been real.
And then have your feelings changed?
What do you mean?
Have you ever felt one thing in the past only to have that feeling to no longer feel that way in the future?
Like, not really. I feel like every feeling that I'm just like
You've never had a feeling change? You've like,
well, in life, yes, of course.
Your favorite movie like 5 years ago is your favorite movie today?
No, in life, yes. In this situation, I'm saying.
No, in life. Yeah, I'm asking you in life.
Yeah, yes, in life, many times.
Yeah. Okay. So why can't he be the same?
I know, that's what I'm having trouble with, because I know that I should hate him, and that
why should you hate him?
Because I just feel like what he did.
I mean, hate's a pretty strong word, and like you've spent a lot of energy on this guy. For one, I just want to remind you, not your boyfriend.
Yes, you're right.
Not someone that either of you were like, hey, let's really make the effort here. How old are you again?
23.
23. So you're young, but you're certainly old enough that if you met the right person and felt like I can't let them go, you could fight for like like something really serious. And you were fighting for keeping in touch after you moved away.
Yeah.
Like not that significant.
Yeah. I know. I guess like when we were together, we were talking about like where like we would both want to move after graduations. We were talking
Sure.
about like ending up in the same place and like I
Talk.
don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I
which is
like
nice.
was holding I was just like holding out hope that like in the future it could work, even though like right now we weren't like in the same place, that it could end up working.
There's a part in your story where the first time he kind of showed these signs, he's like, I'm not this type of guy, which
Yeah.
I agree with you. It doesn't really make sense. Like what is that type of guy? Or is that like
Yeah, exactly.
Is that like a really nice way of saying you're just a fuck boy? Or like what do you
Yeah.
what are you saying? And then kind of in a gaslighty sort of way, kind of made you feel like you made him do something he wasn't comfortable doing, like
Exactly.
committing. And I guess my question to you and my hope for you, and I think the biggest takeaway I hope you take from this call is that you ignored your intuition about his behavior. And this was a guy who at best didn't make any sense, and at worst was admitting that I'm not what not even like he was literally saying I'm not what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I'm not this guy.
Yeah. You're right.
And then his actions, while you claim are confusing, were exactly what he told you he was. Someone who pops in and out when he wants, but doesn't want to feel the obligation to have you have expectations of him when he has other things going on in his life.
Yeah.
And so when he calls you and reaches out to you and says, I miss you, that's not a lie.
Yeah.
That is him like, yeah, today I miss you. I haven't seen you in a while. I had other things going on. I don't feel the need to tell you. You're not my responsibility. You're not my girlfriend. But today I miss you. And right now I want to call and reach out and I want to hear some validation from you. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And that is exactly who he said he was. He didn't even have to show you. He told you.
Yeah.
And yet your response, and again, I'm not trying to pick on you. You had a very normal response, but your response was to act confused.
Yeah.
Even though his words and his actions actually fully matched up.
Yeah. No, you're right. And yeah. Also, like after I had visited him and he was talking about like coming to visit me, and he was the one who brought it up. It wasn't even me. He was like, I want to come visit you. Like, I'll fly out. And I'm like, okay. Like, I didn't fully trust that he's actually going to do that, which he did not end up doing. But I just like don't know why he would even say that or want to do that. If
it felt good, he was trying it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that day he was like, oh, that's a cool idea. And then he changed his mind.
Yeah.
But even if he did fly out, what would that mean?
I guess it really wouldn't mean anything unless he was willing to like work it out or actually commit to me.
Yeah, it would be like he was willing to get on a plane or drive and have a fun weekend. He was willing to have an adventure.
Yeah.
And have you be in that adventure.
Yeah. And then after he didn't end up visiting, I sent him a text and I was like, listen, like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I don't want to talk to you if like you're not going to actually commit to me. And then he ended up answering and was like, yeah, like you mean the world to me, like all this stuff. Like I love having you in my life. But right now, like, I can't give you what you need, basically. It was, like, a lot longer than that, but that's just a summary. And I was like, okay, great. Like, then we don't have to talk anymore. That's what it is. And then he didn't answer my last text, which is fine. But then he kept trying to, like, Snapchat me. So I stopped Snapchatting him. I was like, we're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, that's just him finding little different ways to stay in contact with you and have control over the situation.
Yeah, so I cut that off.
He wants to be able to do things when he wants to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like for you, it's just like you have to try to stop. Like I pointed out, you called yourself stupid a lot when you told that story. You're not stupid. I mean, you're not stupid.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see yourself doing quote unquote stupid things, but whatever. So what? You took a risk.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing you need to change, in my opinion, is accepting the choices that you make. Right. For example, if you go to Vegas and gamble, you know that like the odds aren't in your favor, right?
Yes.
But YOLO, so whatever amount of money you decide to bet, you have to own your choices and decisions. And when you choose to take risks, you have to acknowledge it's a risk. I'm going to go and gamble today. I'm going to gamble $500. It's slightly more than I probably should budget, but like I'm feeling a little risky. I'm feeling, I want to, and if you lose that money, what you're doing the thing, you're just like beating yourself up and being like, I shouldn't have done that. I can't believe I did that. It's just like, you did it. You knew going in. So just own that you did it. Accept it. Take the L. Hopefully it wasn't like such a, huge loss that you really have to recover from. And most of your, most of our bad choices are just like more annoying, obnoxious things that we do where we should have known better.
Yeah.
But like you'll enjoy your life a lot more when you just like own your mistakes, Like, I mean, listen, when my wife and I, obviously when we first started dating, we had a bit of an age difference, and like that was it's worked out, I'm grateful I did it, but like I wasn't gonna beat myself up over, if I chose to date her.
Like
there was a good chance in the first couple of years we could have not worked out, I suppose, and our age difference could have definitely played a role. And I wasn't going to be like, why did I do? I mean, I knew why I did that. There were a lot of reasons for me to say yes to that, and there were some risks for sure.
Yeah.
But if you're going to make choices that are really risky, and you're like, I know I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Then at least own it. It's like
right.
Fine. I did it because I wanted to have fun, and I knew nothing would come of it. You're doing the thing is that like you're not owning your choices, and you're kind of deluding yourself and you're lying to yourself, trying to convince yourself there's hope or meaning behind the things that he's doing, when in reality he is literally telling you, I enjoy having you around when it's convenient for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like read too much into things, and like every little thing I'm like, oh, what does this mean? Like this must mean something, but you're right, like it doesn't have to mean anything really.
Especially with most young men that you're dating. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
It means that they wanted to do it in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're very right.
And if something changes, it means that it changed.
Yeah.
Feelings change all the time.
Yeah. No, they do.
And that obviously is scary and discouraging often. But to protect ourselves over that's where you have to make smarter decisions, or you have to put up some of those guardrails. So yeah, block them, right? Because right now it's in your head.
Okay.
And you're having a hard time not reading into things.
Yeah.
But this is not a person who wants a girlfriend. And yeah, he can both enjoy your company. He can think you're great. He can be attracted to you. And he can also just be not ready to have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling rejected by him, why don't you just accept that he is like he has got a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
And instead of feeling rejected, start rejecting those flaws. And if you still want to like have a good time, because despite all his flaws, he's still a pretty good lay, or makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot easier to be friends with people, to hang out with people when you accept who they are as people and stop expecting more than they're capable of giving you, and stop convincing yourself, or your ego specifically, that you're so great that they are capable of changing for you.
Yeah. No, you're right. I just like have a hard time because like deep down I know that like he's clearly not the person for me, and that I don't like the way that he acts. Like for some reason, like I just have such a hard time like letting go of like him.
Yeah, I would stop telling yourself that. Stop telling yourself that you have there's something about him that I can't explain.
Yeah.
At least again, it's just like I'm making choices that I know are silly.
Yeah.
And those choices are often causing me to be sad and frustrated at times. But I know why I'm sad and frustrated. It's not because of him. It's because I am ignoring all the red flags. And fine. Okay, I'm an adult. I can ignore red flags, but I'm not going to act surprised that I'm feeling a little sad sometimes every time I ignore a red flag.
Yeah.
So
no, you're so right. If I don't block him, like he's gonna come back again. Like there's no doubt in my mind, because he's done it a million times.
Yeah, and it's not confusing.
Yeah, like I don't know why I like act surprised, because like I know he's gonna do it, and I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, because he did come after I sent him that big text, like saying that I didn't want to do this anymore if he couldn't commit to me. He did end up texting me 2 months later And he like sent a memory of us like from Snapchat, like so random, and was like, miss you. And I'm like, okay, like why? Just like why do you have to do it? It's just so annoying. And like obviously I answered because
Because it's a game. You know, because he can.
yeah,
Because you respond, because you play in, because you make it fun for him.
yeah.
In his mind, it can't be that bad. I mean, if what he was doing was that bad, you would stop.
Exactly, yeah.
And you
Because I
don't.
feel like when I get the chance, I don't even like say how I actually feel to him because I'm like, oh, I want him to come back again. Like I don't know why I want that, but I'm like, I don't want to like say how I actually feel.
Toxic stimulation. It's fun. It's exciting. Feeling anything is fun.
Oh yeah.
You're not bored.
No.
And the brain prefers pain to boredom.
Yeah, that is true.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
And I was back in our college town like 2 weeks ago, and I was supposed to see him, and he knew that. He texted me like 2 weeks before and was like, I'm so excited to see you. I miss you so much. And then literally 3 days before I was supposed to go, he was like, oh, I have to go back home on Friday, like for an appointment, but I'll be back Saturday. And of course, like the one I was like, okay, I don't really know how, like it kind of sounded like an excuse. I don't know if I'm reading too much into that. Like, it could happen that he didn't like realize he had this appointment, whatever. But I don't know.
All right. So like, if someone says, I'm really excited to see you, I miss you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in a world that could mean true love.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you've probably said that about pizza before.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get, yeah.
Haven't had pizza in a while? It's pizza night. You're like, wow, I'm really excited to see you. I have missed you so much. I'm really going to enjoy spending this quality time with you, pizza. You know? And so just remember that sometimes it's not that much more serious than how we feel about food. We get excited, we express our feelings. Yeah, I'm not saying it's okay, and obviously, like, it's a lack of maturity on their part, but, like, when people show you who they are, again, believe them. When they demonstrate, immature qualities and show you that they are people who kind of, are very expressive about the things that, it doesn't necessarily mean more than that. So sometimes they like us as much as food.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I guess you're right. So like you think it's better to block him than to like let him see that I'm like
that is entirely
living life.
Do you understand the problem with your question?
Yeah. That I like still care what he thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't care at all what he thinks.
I mean, it's human to acknowledge that you do, and then I think that would be a sign to, yes, block him, because again, blocking is a boundary setting hack. That's all it is. That's all it should be treated as. It shouldn't be used as a game playing tool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're blocked. You can't have access to me now. And then I'm gonna like secretly, and then like 2 weeks go by, I'm just gonna unblock them. Yeah. And that whole game, that's a game playing tool. But like if it's you to say, all right, whatever, I'm addicted to this pizza. And so I'm going to unsubscribe. Yeah. So that I'm not tempted. So you got to see it as something to help yourself, not a way to be right or validate your feelings. Like, again, it's not even necessarily with you, because again, this is a guy who was like, listen, I'm not this guy. I'm not. It wasn't like I'm dating someone else. It wasn't like, listen, I don't like you. It is, you expect too much from me. Yeah. I want to hang out with you on Saturday. I want to do whatever. I want to have so much fun with you. And I want to tell you in that moment how I feel about you in that moment. And on Tuesday, I don't want to have to expect to reach out to you. And I don't want to have to respond to text messages. Is everything okay? Just because I want to hang out with my bros, or I don't want to care about you every day of the week. But I do like having fun with you, and you're cool. And when I am bored and when I need some company, and you are a really great option, and that's what he wants. And he literally told you that. I just don't get why he would like buy me gifts. Like he would buy me flowers, like when he would go. Because it makes him feel good. Okay. That's just because it makes him feel like a good guy. Just good. Like it's a love language of his. I'm an acts of service guy, right? So when I get a cup of water from my wife, I mean, sure, I'm doing it for her, but it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good that I'm showing her, love. I mean, he's not showing you love,
Yeah.
but he is
Yeah.
showing you affection. And then you respond in kind, and that makes him feel good, and it makes him feel good to do a nice thing.
Yeah.
He could afford it, and he's not,
Mhm.
he didn't do it. He wanted to.
I just feel like that's misleading if he didn't.
Maybe, I guess. But again, you've kind of played into allowing that. Like if you're at the store, at a grocery store, and maybe you look at your cart, it's pretty full, and the person behind you has like less items, and you let them go forward. I mean, does it have to be anything more than a nice gesture?
No.
Are you in love with them if you let them skip ahead?
No.
Should they read into it?
No, they shouldn't.
It made you feel good.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. And I just have to not read into every little thing so much.
Yeah, listen, there's a chapter in my book, or I don't know if it's a chapter or a section or whatever, and something around the stop asking yourself why and start asking yourself what.
Mhm.
You are not asking yourself what happened. You are asking yourself why it happened. And the what matters more.
Yeah.
Like what happened was he was like, yo, I don't want this thing. I don't want you to expect, this is too much for me. I'm not this guy. And you're like, but why?
Yeah.
Why not? Why am I not good enough for you to do that?
Mhm.
Why are you giving me gifts?
Yeah.
What did he do? He got me a gift. Okay, cool. Like it didn't come with strings attached. It didn't come with a proposal. It didn't come with a commitment. It was just a gift. And all it cost him was literally the monetary amount that he had to pay for it.
Yeah.
And you thanked him and he felt good about it.
I don't know. It just seemed like he switched up like so quick from like that first
You're
time.
still
that, like, he
you're
started.
still stuck in the
I know.
lie. You're just I mean,
Yeah.
listen, we could do this for literally hours.
Yeah.
And clearly you have. You're reaching out to me because you've already exhausted all your friends.
Yeah.
And no judgment. I've been you so many
Yeah.
times, but it won't stop until you just want it to stop. And you have to recognize how much energy and time you have wasted. And that could have gone to so many other more meaningful things in your life. Friends, family, personal career, I don't know, work, whatever, literally anything. At any point in your life, if you've ever thought, oh, that would have been cool to do, go back to school, learn a new language, I don't fucking know. And then you
Yeah.
had a subsequent follow-up thought, which is like, I don't know, I don't have time for that. That is obviously, a lie. You have just decided to invest and waste a lot of energy into a bunch of things you know fully well aren't good for you, but you've spent all this time not just accepting that and giving into your ego and just obsessively trying to get what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing. I just have tried so hard to get this and get what I want, and clearly it's not meant for me. So I just have to stop thinking about it or giving energy to it.
Yeah. So, and what you gotta, you have to check yourself. You have to recognize that you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then you have to go, wait, time out, stop, think about something else. What's more productive?
Yeah,
What
because
do
I definitely do recognize it, but the hard part is stopping it.
You're ruminating in a way that you're not checking yourself. You like thinking about them. It's something to do.
Yeah.
You just got to try to stop that.
Okay.
But it starts with controlling your thoughts. It starts with literally acknowledging what you're thinking about and then shifting that focus in something more productive.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely do need to start doing that. Just to whenever I think about it, just tell myself to stop.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Well, hopefully this was helpful.
It was.
All
Thank
right.
you.
It's all up to you. You'll be done when you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I could stop thinking about this whenever I want.
The truth is, you just don't want to right now.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It's a bit of an addiction.
Yeah, because
So-
I'm just thinking about the next time that he's gonna reach out to me. It just repeats the same
Yeah.
cycle, and I have to stop.
So you at least have to own that right now, these are your choices, and this is only happening
Yeah.
because you want it to. And when you're really done, you'll be done.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's in my control.
All right.
All right.
All right. Good luck out there.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.